YouTube, it's me, Bergie, and I am here with my first review for 2016, which is exciting, except for two things. It's not a book review, so already I'm kind of going away from my New Year's resolution. And two, this is the fourth time I'm trying to record this, so let's see if this actually happens, and I hope it does, because if not, I'm probably going to throw my camera across my room, which is not good because I just bought it specifically for this, and it's already not working for me. But anyway, if you saw by the title of this, I will be reviewing the very popular Netflix series, Making a Murderer, which has 10 episodes, and I'm pretty sure it was brought on to Netflix sometime during the new year, so around New Year's Day and that kind of stuff. But yeah, ever since then, I've heard a lot about it, and at first I was a bit wary to watch it because although I do like fake crime shows or court cases and that kind of stuff, like My Cousin Vinny, Legally Blonde, or Law and Order SVU, I don't like it when it's with real cases, like especially the O.J. Simpson, which is turning into a new movie, or the Lifetime movie about Casey Anthony. Like, I refuse to watch those kinds of things because I don't want to feel any sympathy or positive feelings towards those cases for personal reasons, which I'm pretty sure a lot of people would share. And it's not like I definitely feel those feelings after watching them, it's just that I don't want the possibility of ever feeling a positive, sympathetic feeling towards them. So that's why it took me a while to kind of jump on to this bandwagon, because I didn't want to feel sympathy, because I didn't hear much. I just knew it was it was about a court case. So I had no idea if the dude being accused was innocent or guilty. I kind of figured guilty, which I don't know why, but yeah, I assumed he was guilty. So then I decided to watch it as background noise while I was trying to de-stress from my first week of classes. So I put it on so that way I can not think while I'm just coloring. So that way no more stress kind of accumulates in my mind. Well, the intent was to be focused more on my coloring. That did not happen. Within 5 minutes, I think, I was focused intently on my laptop screen watching this, and after a while I was screaming at my computer as if I was watching the Soccer World Cup, which I get bad with that, so it was really bad. I'm pretty sure my flatmates could hear me because, one, the walls were very thin, and I was also quite loud. So that was embarrassing, but thankfully we have an unspoken rule, I guess, that we don't judge each other. So yeah, I decided to watch it, and if you do not know what this is about and are kind of want to know before you jump in to watch it, it's about this dude named Stephen Avery who was accused of raping a woman, was imprisoned for it because he was found guilty, but then 18 years after being sentenced, he was released because of DNA evidence, but then almost immediately afterwards he was charged with murdering a woman. And this documentary series, I said that weird, this docu-series, as I think they call it, is basically a compilation of all the different pieces of the trials, like all the evidence, all the witnesses, and all the background knowledge for both of these cases, plus a third one which has to do with Avery's second trial. But I'll get into that more in the spoilers. But before I go into that, I kind of want to say something that you might ignore, which I'm totally fine with, but I just want to warn people about the show. Whether you are watching it or not, I think you have to keep in mind that the fact that this is not 100% free from bias. It's not objective. Even though they are trying to show and present the evidence without putting their opinions, no matter what they do, they're kind of manipulating how we see them. And I think even in the beginning when they just show the first case, that's kind of manipulating your feelings to be brought, like, to bring sympathy from that first case because he was wrongly imprisoned into the second case. And I feel you guys have to understand that our emotions are kind of being played with. So we might be feeling sympathy towards him, but we do not have all the facts to say, oh, he's 100% guilty, he's 100% innocent. We don't know. We can't take everything at face value. We have to take everything with a pinch of salt, because like I said, they are trying to gain sympathy, I think, from us, and to show how shitty Stephen Avery's life has been because of the legal system. So I just want to say, keep that in mind before you go judging everything about it, which you can still judge afterwards, but just keep that in mind, because I'm totally going to judge in my spoiler part, which I guess we'll turn to in a second. I'll just say I watched this in 2 days, so I watched 10 episodes in 2 days, which is a lot. Was not the plan at all. And I ended up giving a 4.8 out of 5 rating because I constantly was so invested in this case, because it was presented in such a way that you do feel sympathy for him, and you get angry at it. Like I said, you get so invested that you get so angry at your computer. And yeah, so that's why I give it such a high rating. So now into the spoilers. So like I said before, in the beginning I kind of was negative. I was thinking, oh, this is another like O.J. Simpson case or a Casey Anthony case where they're kind of putting it out for entertainment value to either get sympathy or something, or some other positive feeling or whatever. So I went in feeling with predisposed opinions about him that I admit were pretty negative. And in the beginning, these thoughts were furthered, these opinions and feelings towards him were furthered by the fact that, one, he had a criminal past, like he was doing theft, but what really got me was the fact that he threw his cat in a fire or over a fire and it burned or whatever. But it was not nice. It was he was mean to a cat. And I mean, look at my sweater. I love cats. I really like them. I mean, if it was a dog, it would have been bad as well. I don't condone any violence towards animals, but like it's a cat. I'm going to be a cat lady, so I love cats, and you don't do that. Anybody who does anything mean to cats are like evil in my book. So with that, it just was like, I'm not gonna like you at all. There's no possible way that I will ever feel any hint of sympathy for you. But then I became more informed through the docu-series about his cases. So I'm going to break it down by each individual cases and kind of talk about my feelings towards them. I'm not going to actually say specifics about the case. I mean, you can watch the docu-series, and I mean, if you're watching this part, you've already watched it, so you'll know, hopefully, what I'm talking about. Like I said, the first case was Stephen Avery was accused of raping this woman. So I have a couple things that are kind of suspicious or wrong to me. The victim gave initially a description that did not fit Stephen Avery. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I'm pretty sure the eye color was completely off. I'm pretty sure the body or whatever, how she described it, was completely off and did not fit Stephen Avery. And that leads me to my second point. The first words out of the police officer's mouth was, "Oh, that sounds like Stephen Avery," when of course it's not. It doesn't fit his description at all. And then it's worsened by the fact that the sketch artist obviously used a headshot of Stephen Avery from the police office that they already had, and literally like copied it from that and did not go off of the description. Like, seriously? It's very obvious. The two pictures, the drawing and the headshot of Stephen Avery, were literally the same and did not fit the victim's description at all. Third, Stephen had a clear-cut alibi that put him away from the scene. And the police officers completely just ignored that fact. They were like, yeah, no. Even though he had other people with him that could corroborate his story, they're like, yeah, nah, we're not gonna listen to that. That has nothing to do with the case. He definitely raped her, even though he was all the way like across the county or whatever. And then, of course, he was imprisoned somehow based on those pieces of evidence that do not fit it at all. for 18 years before being released because DNA proved that it was not him and it was someone else who has raped quite a number of times and was in the area during that time. Like, honestly, what was going on? And there was a whole bunch of things that the police station and really the entire county was against Stephen Avery and his family because they were just rednecks, I guess, that kept to themselves and were inbred or whatever. They just, for some reason, they were just so against that family and they wanted to accuse him of something and get him put in jail, which I really don't understand why they did that, but it seems obvious that that was the case because there was literally no reason for him to be accused of that and then imprisoned for being found guilty. After his release, he is then accused of murdering a woman. He was the only suspect interrogated and investigated. That's completely mind-boggling that he was literally the only one talked to about this murder, when there was another person that the victim had visited that day, and the police do not know who was visited first or last. So it could have been Stephen Avery was the last person to see her, but it could have just as well could have been the other client of the victim. But it doesn't seem like they were contacted at all. Also, I'm pretty sure through all my knowledge gained through crime shows, it is very common that these kinds of crimes are done by people who you know already. They're not just random people. So what about the ex-boyfriend? What about the person who kept on calling her, which I don't remember the exact details, but I do remember that there was a little statement about that she was getting random phone calls or something, or phone calls from someone that pissed her off. I don't know. What about her family? More importantly, what about her brother? A clip was shown about the victim saying, oh, that she loves her sisters, her life or whatever, that kind of stuff. She does not mention her brother. But here's the thing though, her brother's the only one being televised for the case. He's the only one searching for his sister. He's the only, I don't know, it just seems fishy to me that he's the only one and that the rest of the family are not speaking out in public. I don't know if that's just me, but it seemed fishy. The victim's car was found on Stephen Avery's family's property, which was a car salvage yard. Now, that in itself is adds suspicion to Stephen Avery because it's on there. But the thing is, the person who found it, now you have to know that the car salvage is obviously huge, and that there were lines of cars and then a little line around it. You would think the logical way to search it was to go up and down the aisles, which it would have taken hours to have done. No, the person who found the car was searching this way, which was kind of difficult, and then was like, oh, let's go to the outer part of it because I feel like I should do that, even though logically that's not logical or rational. So she cut across the whole thing and was able to find the car in a short period of time. She said that God led her there, but I don't know, that's a little suspicious for me too. I don't understand. And when she had said that in court, she was looking down. And I'm no psychologist, but again, through my court shows and criminal shows, that's a sign of lying. So, gotta keep that in mind. Once the car was found, a search was held, but because of the other case and how predisposed everybody in the county, including the police officers, were against Stephen and his family, another police station or police officers was brought in to do the search and to find any more information about the victim and her whereabouts. A lot of suspicious things happened. One, a log wasn't kept to make sure who was coming in and out of this criminal search zone. because of this, one of the police officers from that county who were not supposed to take any part of the search was able to go in. Not only did he go in, he found a key, the victim's key, in Stephen Avery's bedroom. And I'm pretty sure it was the third or fourth day of the search, so obviously they had gotten around to looking at everything and they were kind of just going back and forth to see if they missed any small details. Now, when he found the key, it wasn't like hidden behind something to be like, oh yeah, someone definitely missed it because they didn't look as hard. No, it was out in the open. That doesn't seem like it would be overlooked. I mean, I'm not saying that that police officer planted it, but I don't have any other explanation for why it was there and not found by anyone else. And the name of this police officer, Officer Lank, he pops up a lot within both this court case and the previous one, the rape. So that's a little suspicious as well. Then there was blood found in the car, and the defense lawyers were trying to figure out how that could be when obviously they're trying to show that Stephen Avery was not at all a part of this. So to do this and also to find more information about the case, they take and get into their possession the 1985 case file that had to do with the rape. And when they see this thing, this container that's supposed to hold the blood, his blood from that first case, it is very obviously disturbed. And once they open it, there is the vial of blood, but there is a clear hole where a needle or something had gotten in to take out blood. Now, I'm not saying that this was used to plant Stephen Avery's blood into the car, but again, I don't see another explanation for why it was done. And again, Link, whatever his name was, that police officer was somehow, again, tied to this. Furthermore, there were bullet cases, 6 months I think, or a couple of months at least, found in his garage after the search. I don't know, it just amazes me. And then, even worse was the scientific analysis done to this bullet, because it was only, I think, one bullet found. Okay, I know I've only taken AP Science, and that was 3 years ago. So I'm not that up to date to the knowledge of scientific analysis, or chemistry analysis, or anything like that. But I'm pretty sure it's common sense that one, if you contaminate any sample, you cannot use it no matter what. Even if you do know what you contaminated it with, you cannot continue to use that contaminated sample. 2, geez, I forgot the second point. I had a second point there. Oh, yes, now I remember. She used the entire sample all at once. No, you don't do that. You have to do multiple samples so that way you can see if there's any difference or to see if there's any error in any of them. But no, she used all of it at once. Again, that's common sense. How do you do that? And then it was made known, or it was shown as evidence that one of the police officers, and I'm pretty sure it was Police Officer Lank, had told her that they needed something to place the victim in Stephen Avery's garage, and this bullet would have done so, but again, it was contaminated. It was not handled properly, but somehow it was still usable in court. It blows my mind how that was allowed. Finally, and this has to do with something that I'm studying right now, and it's the excavation of the bones. Now, I haven't done many archaeological excavations, and I haven't done any anthropology-related ones, but when I'm doing my excavations that have no severity placed on them, they're just basically excavated to find more information about the past. Yeah, it's important to know, but it's not as important as being related to a court case, let alone a murder court case. So when we do our excavations, we literally take pictures of everything. We record every little detail. And that was not done in the excavation process. I'm pretty sure the head anthropologist who led that excavation, he did not know where certain things came from. How do you not know? You're supposed to keep really good records on that stuff. And I just find that completely idiotic and, again, mind-blowing that this was done. All of these professionals are not acting professionally at all. Before I go into the third case, which deals with this case, I want to say I'm not necessarily saying that Steven Avery is innocent of the murder. I'm just saying that from the evidence brought up by the prosecution, there should have been no way that he was found guilty, because nearly all of the pieces of evidence that they have was either contaminated or should have been unusable because of how it was handled so unprofessionally and done so badly. But again, I do not know necessarily if he's innocent. I just think from this case and the case that was presented that he should have been found not guilty. Not necessarily innocent, but not guilty. Now to the third case, which was about Steven Avery's nephew, who was being accused of being an accomplice to the murder. Now this case really is just like so mind-bogglingly stupid how he was able to be prosecuted. 1, he was interrogated without supervision, and at the time he was underage, and I'm pretty sure that there is a law that everybody underage has to have some kind of adult supervision while they're being talked to by the police. And even if that's not the case, everybody's entitled to a lawyer. And I don't think he was given that option to do so, to get someone, either his mother or a lawyer, to come there to overwatch what was being talked about. 2, he is obviously mentally slow or mentally disabled. So that, I think, makes it so even if he was not underage, he definitely needed someone in the room to help him process what was going on. 3, in the clips of the interrogation of Steven's nephew, Brandon, it's so obvious that the police officers are leading him to the outcome they want. They are not asking open-ended questions like, what happened? What did you see? They're like, okay, so what happened to his head? To his head. And they're like, okay, but what happened to his head? When they don't get an answer, they keep on asking the same question until they get what they want, which that is completely wrong. I don't think you're allowed to do that. Again, I don't know the law for this, but I'm pretty sure you can't just be asked specific questions. You just have to ask, okay, what did you see? What do you know about the case? And that kind of stuff. In the case, they also left out the part where Brendan tells his mom that the police officers are getting to his head. And that would help in the fact that, oh, yes, the police officers are definitely feeding him or leading him to their own end. And lastly, Kayla, who is his cousin, who is younger than him, made up her statement that, oh, he seemed sad during the time and he was crying all the time and was just emotionally unstable, and which led the police officers to think that, oh, he's feeling guilty over what happened. But Kayla says to the police that was the case, but then in the courtroom says that, no, I lied. So just this entire case was just completely messed up. It was screwed up. And again, I think that I really doubt that he had anything to do with this case at all. I don't think he should have been found guilty whatsoever. I don't think he had any part. I'm 99% sure that he was just a scapegoat for the police so that they can get what they wanted for the other case. Because you need to remember that this was very publicized, so the public already had a clear idea or clear thoughts about what was happening, especially in that county, because of course they all had some hatred towards this family for some unknown reason. And the jurors, they were picked from that county, so they already had previous knowledge and previous opinions about the case, which you're not supposed to have when you're deciding whether someone is guilty or innocent. So I just think all of these cases were completely messed up. They were not done properly at all, and it amazes me how our government system, our legal system, let this happen. Again, I'm not saying that Stephen Avery is innocent. I'm just saying, with the facts provided and with the evidence provided, with the testimonies provided, there should have been no way that he was found guilty. He should have been found not guilty. Not necessarily innocent, again, but not guilty. Yeah, I'm going to stop talking now before I give my camera the chance to mess things up for me. And hopefully I just didn't jinx that. But yeah, let me know below what your thoughts on the case were if you saw it. And yeah, that's it. I thought I was going to say something more profound there, but no. Just let me know what you think. And if you like this, let me know. Tell me if you agree with my thoughts. So thank you for watching this entire video if you have, and I'll see you next time. Bye!